It's the dawn of a new era for gym class heroes.
How does Billionaire come out?
You really want to know?
Yeah, I would have a show like Oprah.
A lot of people don't know this. I'm about to give you an exclusive.
Please.
So the original top line for Billionaire was, I want to be a billionaire so fucking bad. I want to be on the cover of Forbes magazine standing next to Diddy and the Queen. The remix with Wayne for Viva, like that happened.
My heart's a stereo.
Yeah. I just saw the concept in my head. So I just started writing, like, if I was just another dusty record on the show, would you blow me off and play me? And it started coming out naturally.
If I was just another dusty record on the shelf, would you blow me off and play me like everybody else?
I low-key feel like I let our fans down, in a sense. I'm just gonna be open and honest with you. This is probably the first time I ever said this.
I remember discovering you guys on that Drive-Thru Records Pure Volume CD with 150 bands.
Bro, tell me how, though I lived by those compilations. Like, wait, which compilation was it? Drive-Thru?
Drive-Thru and Pure Volume had a 2-disc
And
one.
they put Taxi Driver on it, huh?
Yes, with an MP3 selection of 150 songs. And I go through every single one. And Taxi Driver, I'm just like, on the edge of my seat, who are you going to name drop next? You tapped into a market so into the generation between that New Friend Request. It spoke to me. And it was a sound unlike anything else at the time. Mm-hmm. And it was so special to me when I discovered you guys.
It means the world to me, man. For real. Like, gym class, we'd all, like, I grew up going to hardcore shows and had always been tapped into that scene. I was always the sore thumb. Like, there's all the, straight edge white kids, like, wanting to beat the shit out of each other, and like I'm in the parking lot waiting for the venue to open, drinking 40s and shit. You know what I mean? Like, this was when this was like the hard line straight edge. Like, they'll beat you up if they see you smoking a cigarette type shit. And I was like, I dare you. But it was just a cool release of energy. So, and then we started doing Warped Tour and touring with a lot of the bands that we grew up listening to, and like bands like Every Time I Die and shit, and shout out to Every Time I Die, my man Keith. But then as like that AP era, like alternative press, alternative press and the Source magazine. They were my Bibles growing up. Like I would always go get the new Source and new alternative press.
So you were into the scene that much, like AbsolutePunk.net.
I was in all them forums, like, what's the new shit? You know what I mean? Or who's talking shit about who? Like, what band got beat with who? Like, I was up on it. You know what I mean? Until we got thrown in there, and I was like, I don't want to see none of this shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, Absolute Punk, like that was like a platform for us. Like, I was going like, oh, people are really digging this shit. And it's not what is like prevalent on this platform, like,
not at all.
So I guess we kind of got, I guess that scene kind of embraced us by association, because we were fucking with Fall Out Boy, and Pete basically got us our deal. So like, oh well, if Pete fucks with them, we gotta fuck with them. And I was like, not necessarily, you don't have to, but if you fuck with it, cool. And they just fucking embraced us with open arms, you know what I mean? And we did our thing. And I remember, like one day I opened an alternative press, and I'm, just flipping through, and I'm looking at these band names, and they're like sentences, like, you will know us by the trail of the dead. I'm like, what the fuck? So like, I'm like, wait a minute, like, and it started to make this narrative. Like, okay, I started putting like in my head, like I started seeing all these equations and shit, and I'm like, and all these names I'm like, yo, I can make this a whole story, like a whole what's the word I'm looking for? Cohesive story that my friends who have no idea who any of these bands are could still understand, but the kids that do know who these bands are will be like, whoa. How do you put that together? You know what I mean? So,
and that's the narrative of Taxi Driver?
Yeah, absolutely. So it wasn't just, I think a lot of people are like, oh, he's just trying to fucking whatever. Like they thought it was like, they thought I had like ulterior motives. Like I wanted to, I don't know, be accepted because I knew all these bands. And it's like, nah, like, so for instance, there's a song called Labels by GZA from Wu-Tang. And he basically did what I did in Taxi Driver, but instead of like indie band or rock and indie band names, he just used record labels. He's like, Tommy ain't my motherfucking boy, and he keeps going on. And I was like, that's genius. That's probably why they called him a genius. So that's kind of the approach I took with Taxi Driver.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, lyrically, though, you were such a storyteller. Even one song that always stuck out to me was Scandalous Scholastics.
Oh, my Lord. Yo, that just came up like a week ago.
Was that a true story at all?
a little embellished, but not completely fiction.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. You know?
Okay. So how do you find the sound for Paper Cut Chronicles?
So, you know, I've always been told by people who have been in the muck of this shit longer than me that you have like your whole life to write your first album. You know what I mean? And I was like, that makes a lot of sense because the Paper Cut Chronicles, like, first and foremost, the title came from a mixtape that I made for this girl named Lisa Gibson that I was in love with. I used to make that was I didn't have any game growing up, so I would make mixtapes for girls and like make these crazy titles and make these crazy covers, and every mixtape had like a story, you know what I mean? Like, and the Paper Cut Chronicles was a mixtape that I made for Lisa Gibson. And when we started making the record, some of the songs I wrote when I was like 17, 18, you know what I mean? And we put it out when I was 22. So,
and those are just demos that you eventually worked on?
Yeah, they were demos that we would play and we had recordings of, but that we refined, you know, when we decided to make a full length, you know what I mean? But it was still like, all right, world, this is me, you know what I'm saying? And low key, after we wrapped it and we listened to it a million times, I'm like, shit, what else am I going to talk about after this? You know what I'm saying? But I'm 22 years old, you know? I'm like, I'm not thinking I got a whole fucking life ahead of me, you know, like to write things about. But I thought it was over after that. Like, it was like, towards the end of the album, I was starting to run out of things to talk about, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how the hell does a career in this field work if you don't got shit to talk about? But, you know, life does its thing and, you know, songs happen, I guess.
Right. What does a song like Cupid's Chokehold do for you guys? How does that blow you up into the next stratosphere?
I have no answer for that, honestly. Like, I will tell you how it happened, but it's beyond me. Like, so we had always flirted with like sampling. Like we had always we got the live band aspect, you know, and that's all I've ever known. You know, I've done like straight hip hop shit, you know, with friends of mine, but all I've ever known was having a band with me. I've never felt like this, you know, like a rapper, I'm here. It's always a unit, you know what I mean?
You wanted your boys behind you.
Absolutely, because that was the only way I could feel comfortable, you know what I mean? Like,
that was also the scene you grew up on.
For sure. So, you know, like as we grew as musicians, as artists, I wanted to kind of just like I hadn't heard of many like live bands using samples before, you know. I think the Roots, I did a joint called it's a Sly and the Family Stone song. They sampled Everybody's a Star, and I was like, this is genius. Like with Cupid's Chokehold, Breakfast in America was a record that my father used to play when I was younger, and only reason I would be like, Dad, I knew when he pulled out the album, because there's like this fat lady on the cover with like a pie or some shit, and it scared the shit out of me. She looked like Large Marge. You ever see Pee-wee?
Big Adventure.
Remember Large Marge?
Yeah.
Yeah, this bitch looked like Large Marge with a cake. I was like, Dad, play the album with the fat white lady. And he'd be like, all right, got you. And all I remember was hearing ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. You know what I mean? And then the take a look at my girlfriend. And that shit was always in the back of my head. It was that song, and there's a song by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes called Bad Luck that I always wanted to sample. And the hook was like, bad luck, that's what you got, you got bad luck, which I still feel like I should do. But, so, my roommate, I went to art school for a couple of years, and my roommate, he's still my best friend to this day, but he's a producer as well. And one day I was like, yo, like, I want to flip this Supertramp sample, but, you know, like, I want the hook to be, and I showed him, like, where I wanted it, but originally it wasn't Take a Look at My Girlfriend. It was Don't You Look at My Girlfriend. So it's the beat part. First he says, take a look at my girlfriend. And the beat part, he goes, don't you look at my girlfriend. She's the only one I got. Originally, that's what I wanted. So he's like, yo, I got you. And I went to work, came back home. He was like, yo, I got it. He plays it. And it's like, take a look at my girlfriend. I'm like, that's the wrong one, bro. But the more I listened, I was like, this shit still hits. You know what I'm saying? So I took what he did to the band. And I was like, yo, I think we could, you know what I mean? Like bring this to the studio and lay our shit over it and make it happen. And lo and behold, we recorded the shit in like 25 minutes, and literally like 25 minutes. And sometime after that, it got to a radio station in Minneapolis, I believe. Milwaukee. I'm sorry, because I always get it fucked up, and I know she gets pissed every time I do. There's a radio DJ in Milwaukee who caught wind of it. It makes sense because Milwaukee, Chicago, that whole area, like that. Chicago was like our second home after like we got linked with Fall Out Boy. So she started playing on the radio, and it got requests, and I think a little bleep started popping up on, other radio stations' radars, and they're like, what the fuck is this song that keeps getting played? Bing, bing, bing. Next thing you know, like, Cupid's Chokehold blows up, and I'm like, all right, and we just get thrown into the lion's den, you know?
And then is that when all these people start calling for, like, Conan O'Brien and Jimmy Kimmel, and you're doing these late-night performances?
Absolutely, and I was not prepared for any of that shit. At all. I mean, I'm fresh out the van, you know what I'm saying? Like, dirty kid from upstate, and now I'm doing Ellen, and you know what I mean? It was weird. It was weird, but I did my damn thing, I did what I could, and I think they enjoyed it. So,
did it ever get overwhelming being in the spotlight like that? Because exactly what you said, you were doing the van life, playing at abandoned churches.
Yeah.
And now you're doing late night performances for the entire country.
And like, a lot of people don't know this, like, you only get one take. Like, there's no, like, you fuck up, let's do it again. I think there was one time we did Leno, and we fucked up bad, and he was like, all right, let's roll it back. But other than that, like, you gotta do it. So, that shit was intense, but the more I did it, the more fearless I got. I was like, if I could do this shit, like, I could do anything, you know what I mean? This shit everybody's gonna see this shit, and I have one chance to do it. So it gives you like this, I don't know, like, it gives you this sense of like, yeah. After doing a few late night TV spots, I felt invincible. You know what I mean? Like, but it was definitely a weird transition. It was a weird transition.
What did performing on Conan do to the status of your band? Would you see more people show up at the shows?
I think every television performance that we did kind of boosted our fan base in a sense. But one thing so we were talking earlier, I did the other night, shout out to Lil Aaron. He had a pop-up shop, and this year is the 20th anniversary of the Cut Chronicles, which I see back here.
Crazy.
Gang. It's the 20th anniversary, which is bugged out. And Lil Aaron's, his whole thing is green. So like, I was like, bro, this makes too much sense. It makes way too much sense. So we did a little pop-up shop. I don't know. He made a Hazard. That's his company. He made a Hazard Gym Class Heroes collab tee for the 20th anniversary. Obviously neon green and shit and black. And man, there was kids wrapped around the corner. And I mean, this is a storefront, you know what I mean? So we came out, and I shit you not, it felt like back in those VFW days, you know what I mean? Like, on the floor with the crowd, there's no barriers, there's not 20 security guards, the crowd's not 20 feet from you, they're right here, like y'all can smell my breath type shit, you know what I mean? I can smell y'all's too, but I missed that so much, and I didn't realize how much I missed it till the other night, man. I know I'm trailing off here, but
no, those were the days.
It was magic. And I told Aaron, I was like, bro, I don't know what the fuck just happened in there, but keep doing it. If you keep doing it, I'll keep coming back. You know what I mean? It's like, if you build it, they will come type shit. But like, bro, like, I feel like I'm still kind of buzzing off of that, like, because that's how we came up. And, like I said, when Cupid's blew up, we got thrown into this, whatever the fuck you call it. And, but all we had known for years was no barriers, you know what I mean? Like, people grabbing you, going into the crowd. And man, I used to, there's times where I would just like walk into the crowd and just lay on the floor and finish a song. You know what I'm saying? Like, or lay on the floor and give the mic to somebody and they'd finish the song for me type shit. And that intimacy, like, I know for a fact, like, those kids will never forget those shows because I don't. And Aaron said that about the other night. He was like, yo, these kids are never going to forget this shit. I was like, fuck the kids. I'm never going to forget this shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I love the kids, but, like, fuck the kids, too. And, like, that shit put a battery in my back. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I told Brad, my manager, I was like, bro, when we put this next record out, make sure you book at least 10 shows like that on every tour. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, at least.
When you put out the next record for Travie McCoy?
No. Gym Class Heroes, man.
Wow.
You want to get into that conversation?
Please. Is this a Cut Chronicles 3?
Nah, not yet. It's too early for that.
Okay.
Too early for that. So
yeah, what's happening now?
Bro, to be honest with you, the past 9 years have been very trying for me, like very trying in all senses of the phrase. Like, but one thing I had to do was kind of sit back, reassess, and rebuild the Gym Class Heroes brand in a sense. Like, things got to a point where, you know, like Matt and I, like the original member, we pretty much started the band
in 10th grade.
In 10th grade, 97. Crazy. It's a trip. It's like, I never thought I'd see 30, bro. I'll be 44 this August. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's wild. So Matt and I, you know, like, Matt started doing like he's always been an amazing producer. He does soundtracks for podcasts basically, and he kills it. And he gets to work from home. He's got 2 daughters and shit. And I think he just kind of got over the toil and tussle of, you know. And I respect it, bro. He's got a family, and also like he's getting paid working from his home studio. Like I'm not trying to encroach on that. You know what I mean? So. We came to like we came to a decision like, hey, at first it was like, let's lay it to rest, you know? And then I was like, I sat on it for a while and I was like, I've invested too much of my life and myself into Gym Class Heroes to just let it dissolve, you know? And I was cool with it at first. I was like, all right, like I'd rather lay it to rest than to watch it fizzle out. And you know what I mean? Like I've seen a lot of bands kind of, you know, fade into obscurity, and I refuse to let that happen. You know, I feel like not only does Gym Class Heroes mean a lot to me, but bro, like even the other night, like Aaron was like, yo, you got real fans. I was like, duh. Like, motherfucker, you think I've been doing this for this long for nothing? Like, and they keep me going. But they're shout out to my homegirl Janine. She was at the pop-up the other day, and she was literally on the phone taking orders for other fans to get shirts. And he was like, yo, I think she bought like 42 shirts. I'm like, bro, they fuck with us. Like, I mean, and also shout out to all the Cali Boardies and Dub. Bro, like our fans, like I've always admired bands like the Grateful Dead and Fish who you know, have fans that follow them everywhere they go. And, you know, they record the shows and they trade tapes. And that's why I always try to make Gym Class Heroes shows very intimate and exclusive. So like, hey, like because I noticed that like a lot of our fans were coming to multiple shows. Like I started seeing the same faces. I'm like, well, we can't give these people the same show. Like we got to make every show an experience. You know what I mean? And that's what the Grateful Dead and Fish did. And that's why they still have fans to this day that are in their 70s and 80s that will still make it out if they can, you know, to see whoever's left. But I always admired that. And, you know, just building a grassroots, you know, fan base. And that's why I told Aaron, I was like, yo, like we literally have fans that have flown to the UK to follow us on tour in the UK and weren't prepared. So I had to buy them all coats and shit. You know what I mean? Like, but that's what family does for family, you know, like if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even be in the UK, you know? So yeah, our fan base is probably one of the illest out there, you know? And I give a shout out to them all the time.
So where are we now for the new gym class?
Oh yeah,
forward?
I just went on a whole tangent. So with that said, it took some time, but there's a lot of legalities that I had to, you know, like a lot of rings of fire I had to jump through to finally own the name Gym Class Heroes. But it's done. Wow. It's done and doner, and it's been done. So with that said, the new Gym Class Heroes record is about 90% done.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
I'm excited.
For
What can you say? Wasn't prepared for this. What can you say about songs, writing process, what they're going to be about? Will it have a similar sound?
Well, I'll give you the lowdown.
Yeah, give us the skinny.
So a good. I mean, I'd say like 75% or maybe even 80% of the record was produced by myself and Asa from Electric Guest. You ever heard of the band Electric Guest?
Mm-mm.
Really?
No, I'm not familiar.
Ace is a beast. So you know Lonely Island, right?
Yeah, of course.
Dick in a box, fucking.
He produced it?
So his brother is in Lonely Island.
Okay.
His brother Yorma. He's you know Pop Star, right? The movie
Yeah.
Pop Star. He's Owen, the DJ.
Okay.
So that's Asa. But Asa produces a lot of shit for Lonely Island. He writes a lot of shit. But bro, like he's a fucking savant, bro. This dude is. I've never met anybody 4'2" with a giant's fucking energy when he walks in a room. You know what I mean? Like this dude. For some reason, the first time we connected and started working, I was like, I don't want to work with nobody else. Like I literally don't want to work with anybody else. But you know, I have my crew and shit. But yeah, like Ace and I have we've been chugging at it for like the past like maybe 2.5, 3 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, I just have to say, like, it's the dawn of a new era for Gym Class Heroes, and that's not to scare anybody, because it's. I mean, if I'm gonna slap the Gym Class Heroes brand on it, you best believe, if you're a Gym Class Heroes fan, you're gonna fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely an evolution. As corny and cliche as that may sound, but yeah, your man's getting old, bro. Getting wise.
I'm
Getting
stoked
wise.
for it. Is there an expected release date?
I want to put it out tomorrow, but you know how things go. And
Right.
We had a discussion the other day, Brad and I, or actually Matt and I, from Raw Material, and I think probably third quarter this year.
Oh, so soon.
Soon, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's just in time for When We Were Young Fest.
You already know.
Wow. So even on your recent solo album, there were hints of Gym Class, and it had the pop, it had the rap, it had the lyrical Travie
For sure.
signature sound. This new one's going to be insane.
Yo, like.
Are you already envisioning the art, the album title?
So yeah. So whenever I go into making a body of work, you know, as opposed to just making songs or, you know, like or doing features, whatever, go into a body of work, I can, like, when every time I finish a song, I can already see the video in my head, you know. So I'll write out a little treatment, and like, so everything's being processed as the album's being made. So when it's done, it's like, here, motherfuckers, do what you do. I've done what I can do. Now you do what you do. And I couldn't be more stoked to be fucking with Raw Material, Brad and Matt. Like they have been holding me down, man, for real. So I have no doubt in my mind that anybody who's been fucking with Gym Class Heroes will absolutely love this album, man. For sure.
Will there be a tour as well?
Oh, of course, man. Like that, honestly, I think I low-key want to get this album out sooner just so I can tour, you know what I mean? Like, I love doing one-offs and festivals and shit here and there, but, like, I miss, like, fucking, you know? Like, once you get a taste of that fucking... Wait, can you cuss on here?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Once you get bit by that touring bug, it's a love-hate relationship for the rest of your life, you know? Like, because your first 2 weeks, you're like, this is the shit. Last, like, 2 weeks before you go home, you're like, I gotta get home. You get home, 3 days later, you're like, get the fuck out of here, I'm going crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, but yeah. So I'm really looking forward to getting out there, and yeah. Damn, you got me super excited.
Yeah, that's great. Lyrically, did you have stuff written over the past years that you, like, went back into, or was this all new material?
For the most part, it's a lot of shit was written in the studio with Asa and myself, but there were songs there were ideas that have been on my laptop for a while that I thought, hey, maybe Asa, what do you think about this? He's like, hold up, and he'd pull up like a beat that he had started, and I'm like, oh, that makes complete sense. And then, you know, we'd build it up, and then, like, yeah. So there were some little some nuggets that have been sitting around for a while that I turned polished up a little bit, but for the most part, it's all brand new material, and yeah. Shout out to Asa, man.
How do you approach an album in today's day and age? Because back then, physicals were so important, and there were like interludes. You had the album artwork on the inside. All that stuff was so fun to create. But how are you doing it today?
So I feel like it's still important to like true music lovers, So I like that's another thing. So aside from thinking about video treatments and shit, I think about album artwork. Like there hasn't been an album cover that I haven't had, like 100% artistic, for sure. So
do you have a favorite album cover?
That's Cruel, without a doubt, it's Cruel School Children, and I'll tell you why. So the story behind this, and I had my man Hired Meat, Dave. He actually does. You ever heard of Zim, the Invader Zim?
I had the actor on the podcast.
So the dude that did this, he is now he's the art. He does the comic books now.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Hired Meat. Shout out to Hired Meat. So I always come conceptually. I come with if I don't do the artwork myself, I'll find somebody who can make it happen. So with this, it's kind of like this kind of represents me and how I felt in high school. You know what I mean? Kids, me being different, and kids cracking jokes, and I don't even know if anybody knows this story about the rest of the artwork. Is it in here? Hold on, because it's like a triptych. Hold on. Wait, does the vinyl not have the whole artwork? Shucky ducky. Well, anyways, anybody who has the CD, make sure you open it out, and it'll make it make sense for you. So
we'll do it together.
Yeah, it's for real. So on the front cover, this kid's like happy as shit in his own skin, and you can tell everybody else is kind of like monotone because they're all in their own world, whatever. So on the next page, it's the same image. He's smiling, but they're all confused. Like, why is he still smiling? Like we're making fun of him. You know what I mean? Like he's still smiling away. And the third, it's the same picture of him, and he's got his hands like. And then everybody in the back has his haircut, and they're wearing the same shirt as him. And it's kind of like a metaphor for like, I'm not gonna change who the fuck I am to suit you guys. You know what I mean? But if you, I guarantee you, at some point, it's gonna make sense, and I'll probably be pointing my finger at you because like you were laughing at what you're trying to be now. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. So can we go back to even when you were recording this album? Sam and Sluggo, you were on Decadence.
Yes. Shout out to Pete.
What did you go into with this? Were you trying to top Paper Cut?
Was
there a lot of pressure for that?
It wasn't. The pressure wasn't necessarily about. For me, it wasn't about outdoing Paper Cut Chronicles. This was our first time working with producers. So this was the first time that we had people. We had Sam Hollander and Dave Katz, Sluggo, and actually Patrick too. And we had never we had only worked with engineers. So like whenever we recorded, we had everything super rehearsed, because we didn't have time. We didn't have time to waste money in the studio, Like it was to the point where like I'd even have my ad libs written in, so I knew, like exactly what I was doing so we didn't waste any money. Oh, wow. And now we're in this, this expensive studio with
New York City.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, this is different. And we start talking, talking about music we're into, the shit we're listening to, and like and there's a huge 80s influence on the album, obviously. That's where my head was at the time. It's where my head's at mostly, usually is like in the 80s. But and I expressed that to them. But it was also the first time that my ideas had gotten shot down. And I didn't know how to take it. I'm like, wait, this is my shit. Like, they're like, yeah, that's cool, but like, I don't know. I'm like, what the fuck you mean you don't know? Like, wait, what? You going like? And I literally, I'm like, wait a minute. These guys have been doing this shit their entire lives. Like, who the fuck am I to come in here? Like, and I had to talk to myself. I actually had to excuse myself and go to the bathroom. Like, chill out, Trav. I think they know what they're talking about, And. But it was also the first time I've ever had like criticism, if it with outside of the three guys in gym class, and I literally just had to humble myself and like listen and not necessarily take like take everything that they said, you know, as gospel, but I learned a lot. You know what I mean? But I will say this: there were times where like I'd be like, yeah, and then Patrick would show up, and then I'd get behind Patrick like, tell him, Pat. Tell you know what I mean? Like Patrick was like, because I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know how to talk to these dudes. Like, you know what I mean? These are seasoned veterans. Like,
because they did like all those albums at that time,
bro. Like, well, after, well, I don't know what they did before. I know what they did before this, but
you guys were at the front of their run.
Well, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we kind of put Sam and Dave back in the game, and they gave us probably one of the dopest records we made. So I can't be too mad. But like Patrick was my fucking, I don't want to say bodyguard, but he was like my safe space. Like whenever he'd come, I'd be like, Patrick, tell me I don't like this. Tell me. Like, hey guys, like I think, and I just didn't have the wherewithal to express that, you know, at the time. Now I don't give a fuck. If I don't like something now, I'm like, fuck out of here. Like, or if somebody, yo, Trev, I like this, but you should do it like this. You should eat a dick. You know what I'm saying? Leave me the fuck alone. This is why I do what I do, and this is why you do what you do. So let's do what we do. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was a weird time, but like the album wouldn't exist without that weird tension and, you know, like that back and forth and awkwardness, man. Like, damn.
Did it just make sense for Patrick to hop on the songs then?
He was there, and like, not only that, like, getting some of those clearances would probably have cost us a lot more than getting Supertramp cleared for Cupid's Chokehold did. But it was worth it though, man. It was worth it. Like shout out to Roger Hodgson. Yeah, he did us dirty, bro. But I will say, as much as they took publishing wise, or as he took publishing wise for Cupid's, and they also made us add in parentheses Breakfast in America, Cupid's Chokehold, Breakfast in America. That was part of the contingency or whatever.
They wanted that in there?
Yeah, it was so corny. But I can't deny what that song did for us, you know, at all.
Why'd they want the parentheses in there?
He wanted people to know that it was their shit. And I'm like, anybody who, you know what I mean? Like, people are going to know, like, I would hope, you know what I'm saying? Or if not, like, yeah. So, but he just wanted it to be felt that, hey, this is a Supertramp. You know what I mean? Like, fuck out of here, man. Like, we're making you guys cool again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever.
What was your favorite single off that? Because I saw online that Queen and I was supposed to be played at Kimmel, but then they did a last-second switch for Cupid's Chokehold.
Mm-hmm. So Queen and I was the first. Queen and I was the first single.
That was the lead one.
Yeah. We did a video, and
great video, by the way.
thank yo. To this day, I don't know. I want to make this shit. Can we make this a thing? To this day, you remember there was the Queen in the video, right? I don't know this chick's name. I mean, it was like my first, I guess, like, kind of big budget video. It wasn't even a big budget, but like,
it had money behind it.
yeah, a little bit. Like, I mean, with that, we paid $250 to make the video for Taxi Driver, so anything above $1,000 was big money to me. But for some reason, the Queen from that video has been, like, literally, like, what's the word? Bro, like, she in her head, she thinks that she's really a queen and I'm the dude. She's gone, bro. She's gone. Like, it's scary. Like, it's scary. Like, sometimes I'll open up IG or something, and it'll be like, your queen's still here waiting for you. I'm like, it's a motherfucking video. Like, I spoke to you 3 times. Like, I don't. It's just want to put that out there. Please leave me alone. Thank you for being the queen in the video, but like, stop it, you creep.
Did you have any other underrated songs on that album? Because I thought "Shoot Down the Stars" was phenomenal.
Yeah, Shoot Down. And
7 Weeks, Viva La White Girl.
There's so many, and like, yeah, the remix with Wayne for Viva, like that happened. Like, I took shout out to my man V Edelman. He was working at Crush at the time, and I was like, Z, like, you think Wayne would do a verse on this? He's like, I don't know. Let's see.
Is he texting him?
I think he was emailing Mac Main, or either Mac or Cortez, Wayne's manager at the time. I shit you not, 2 days later, we had the Wayne verse. Like, Zvi's like, you ready? I'm like, for what? He sends it to me. I'm like, bruh. And like, then I won't forget that, like, I'm driving through Midtown, Manhattan, Hot 97's on. And they're like, yo, here's a brand new one. Lil Wayne, Gym Class Heroes. I'm like, get the, and like, Hot 97 had it in regular rotation, the remix. And I was like, damn, like, this is different, you know? But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of sleepers on As Cruel as School Children, you know?
So many.
The fact that you even brought up Scandalous Scholastics is crazy. I can't even say this shit.
Can we go on to the Quilt?
Absolutely. Oh, it's crazy that you want to, because literally like 4 days ago, I for some reason, I sent a friend of mine Papa's song, and for some reason I decided to listen to that whole album front to back. And afterwards, I texted Patrick and I was like, "Yo, this is random as fuck, but I just listened to the Cool. I just want to thank you, like, sincerely." I reach out to him randomly all the time, but like after listening to that album, like that shit wouldn't have happened without him. Like, and
how did he influence it?
Well, shit, he was in the studio just as much as we were. So after As Cruel as School Children, we knew that we wanted to work with Patrick again. You know what I mean?
As a producer?
For sure. And there were beats that we didn't use, or beats that he sent me that, you know, had just been on my computer from those days, and a couple of them made it on the Quilt. But it was a pretty dark time in my life. So the guys and Patrick were in the studio crushing, and I'm dealing with, like, you know, a lot of dark shit, but I'm still trying to do my part, you know, writing lyrics and shit. And I show up to the studio, and these guys are crushing, and I'm like, damn, like, I just felt like I kept bringing like this dark cloud into the studio. I was like, let me exit stage left, let these guys keep going. And then it got to a point where, like, I showed up, and they're like, all right, dude, we did our part, get it in. And I'm like, all right. So, like, literally went in and just, like, crushed song after song after song. And it was tough. But, like, I will say I couldn't have done it without Patrick, man. Like, he was like, they're like, hey, Trav, like, you're meant to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, show him. You've already showed him. Like, now show him what that level up looks like, you know. And so I got really, really, really personal on that album. The Quilt didn't perform as well as they would hope it did, but for me, it needed to be done, you know. Like, there's some shit I really need to get off my chest, and I'm stoked about it. And the artwork too. I still have that paint. Shout out to Josh Clay, who did the artwork for that album. So, you know, as it rolls out, it's like the whole carnival scary shit, but it's actually a huge painting, a huge acrylic painting that he did. But that's one of my favorite records, man.
For those songs, where did you approach each song knowing what you were going to write about, or how do you lyrically create what you were doing?
I think for the most part, you know, I'm constantly writing, you know.
Even to this day?
Yeah, all the time. Like, my notes are, like, it's ridiculous.
Poems.
I could write like 2 bars or a sentence even, and go through my notes and see that sentence, like, and that's a song. You know what I mean? Let me
piggyback off
suss
that.
it out. Exactly. So, but there are also times where I would just be, you know, they would put something on loop, and I would just sit there. And so sometimes I write in the studio, sometimes I come prepared, but, like, whatever hits me, there's 99.9%. There's something in my notes that will congeal with that, you know?
Right.
I've never said that word congeal before.
But it works.
Congeal.
How do you get Busta Rhymes on the song? Did you guys already know each other?
Nah, so that was I believe that was a move on my man Riggs' behalf. Shout out to Riggs. Riggs became our A&R around that time at Atlantic, and Riggs helped Eminem start Shady Records, and now he's the head of A&R at Atlantic. And once he came on the team, I felt the same way that I felt when Patrick would come to the studio. I was like, all right, now I don't gotta talk to these label people anymore. I just go to Riggs and I stand behind him, like, tell him I said this. You know what I mean? It was the same shit. But yeah, shout out to Riggs, man. He yeah. I just got lost in my thought again.
Did you ever find yourself in a really shitty label situation? Because now you're dealing with all these major labels, and so many people are trying to take a piece of the pie. Yeah. You're being thrown on late night. The albums are getting sales. You're doing crazy tours. You're headlining everywhere. Mm-hmm. How do you not find yourself lost in all of it?
Well, I did. I did find myself lost, and I dealt with a terrible. I had so when I was 19, I messed up my knee, and I've had like 6 knee surgeries. You know what I mean?
Oh wow, that's a scar.
Oh, it's bad. It goes all the way up here, and so I tore my ACL, MCL, and broke and twisted the meniscus. So 6 surgeries, and they put me on OxyContin. And I had no idea, what the fuck it was. They're just like, here, just take 2 of these, and And when I ran out, I got sick as hell, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't into hard drugs when I was 17 or 18. Like, I smoked weed, and cigarettes, but this shit was practically heroin, and I went to the doctor. I was like, bro, like, I haven't slept in 4 days. Like, my legs, what's going on? He's like, well, what medication are you on? I said, this. He's like, oh. He's like, we're going to have to wean you off the OxyContin. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean wean me off? He's like, well, it's a narcotic opiate. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, you know what I mean? He's like, trust me, we'll taper you off. And I was like, if this shit is going to make me feel like this, I don't want no parts of it. So I literally went home and I was like, 2 months, like, felt like straight ass. Like, I couldn't get off the couch. Like, bro, it was, and mind you, I have a cast from here to here. So I'm like, I'm in a wheelchair and shit, and still playing shows with gym class, like, from a wheelchair with a boom stand, just like this, like, with my leg up, like, dead ass. But I refused to like take him again. I was like, nah, like.
So you quit a cold turkey?
Cold turkey, and
wow.
I was good for like 2.5, 3 years, like after the hell, after the withdrawals and all that, and then one random night at a party, my boy's like, yo, I got these OC 80s, and I had the 40 milligram ones, and they had me in a fucking chokehold, like, for real, a devil's chokehold. Fuck Cupid, like, it was the devil's chokehold. But one random night, my friend's like, yo, I got these 80s, blah blah, and I don't want to make this. I don't want to feel like I'm
making it enticing.
Yeah, but I never. So he crushed the pill up, and bro, like, if you ever, again, I'm not. I don't want to.
It's not cool.
It's really not cool. But I just remember somebody I guess explaining what it was like the first time they had done something like that, and homie was just like, imagine what it's like to kiss God. And I was like, like, and it hit me so hard. I was like, he's kind of right, like, if kissing God is worth fucking 10 years of heartache and terrible relationships and burning bridges, I don't want to kiss God ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll shake his hand and shit, but I ain't kissing him ever.
What years was this?
It's fuzzy, but I've been clean for over 14 years now. So
congrats.
Off the opiates.
That's
absolutely.
huge.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it for sure. It's tough. Don't romanticize any of this shit. It's not cool, bro. And fuck all the musicians out there that are trying to make the shit cool. Being dead ain't cool, fam. It's not. And rest in peace to all my people who have fell victim to that bullshit. Miss you, Mac.
Can we jump into your solo stuff?
Mm-hmm.
How does Billionaire come out?
You really want to know?
Please. Because you were everywhere.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, it was like the solo with Billionaire nonstop radio play.
So this is wild. So shout out to Aaron Bayshuk. Aaron, at the time, I think it was 2009, late
2010.
Well, the album came out 2010, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like 2008, 2009. Aaron Bayshuk was my when I started working on solo shit. Aaron Bayshuk became my A&R. And he was like, yo, I got these dudes named the Smeezingtons out in LA I think you would fuck with.
Was the Was the Smeezingtons?
Smeezingtons. It's hard. If you go back and listen to Lazarus and Dr. Feelgood, I go shout out to the Smeez. I couldn't even say it right. I was like shout out to the Smeezingtons.
Were they a writing group?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the Smeezingtons were Bruno, Philip Lawrence, and Ari Levine, and so I came out. They played me a couple jams, and not only, but what pulled me is they were just so fucking fun. They could finish each other's sentences. They had been working for years together. Finish each other's sentences. Comedic genius. Like their timing was just, and it was like it was effortless. And I'm like, oh, I can rock with these guys. Wait, but then I get to make music with them too. So I was sold like the first session. So they played me a couple jams. And I hit Aaron. I was like, yo, I fuck with these dudes. I'll stay out here and see what happens, And I think one of the first songs we did was Dr. Feelgood. And then we got CeeLo on that, which was crazy. But I remember Bruno playing the demo for Billionaire. And a lot of people don't know this. I'm about to give you an exclusive.
Please.
So the original top line for Billionaire was, I want to be a billionaire so fucking bad. Buy all of the things I never had. I want to be on the cover of Forbes magazine, standing next to Diddy and the Queen. Now, hold up. I said, Bruno, I fuck with this. But that Diddy line gotta go, bro. Like I don't know. Like I just don't feel. I don't want to sing the song. I knew that song had hit potential. I knew it. But I was like, I don't want to say standing next to Diddy and the Queen every night. I don't even fuck with Diddy like that. Now was that intuition? I don't know. But I made him change it, and thank God he did. Thank God he did. Not that I like Oprah that much more, but
it just makes more sense.
It makes more sense. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think they'd be playing Billionaire right now if it says standing next to Diddy and the Queen.
So once that song gets released, is it just all over the airwaves?
Literally, I thought the whole Cupid shit was like it had my head spun, but
that was a level.
And this was, I'm like, what? And I think I honestly I think I went to the UK with Bruno and did a tour, and by the time we came back, it was over. Like it was everywhere. Like the virus had went viral.
Crazy.
Like, it was nutty. It was absolutely nutty.
Because that's over 1 billion streams just on Spotify now. Imagine if Spotify was a thing then.
That part, yeah.
Wow.
So it's that's another thing too. It's like sometimes I get in my head and I'm like, damn, like we kind of started in the era of hard sales, and I remember filling out SoundScan sheets and sending them in and shit. I'm like, damn, like had we or I don't want to say had we came out during this era or had this happened earlier, the Spotify and the Apple, all that shit happened when we came out, where the fuck would we be right now, Because, like, shit, like, a lot of the plaques that I have are for hard sales, you know what I mean? So, like, when I get the plaques now, it's cool, but, like, I'm like, streams don't touch my heart the way hard sales touched my heart, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Because I remember going to Best Buy, picking it up, going to FYE, picking it up. How many plaques is Billionaire?
I mean, I think I have 3 or 4. So every time
someone's telling me 6.
6? So it's 6 times platinum. So I have
That's crazy.
So I have 4 different plaques. Like, so I think we skipped a couple times, but I have 4 plaques. So I guess it's 6 times. What the fuck? How many is diamond? That's like 100. Right?
10 million.
For real? So I'm 4 from diamond? Shout out to Brad. I mean, come on, raw material.
We're getting information. There's
Due
over
diligence.
10 million sales.
Yo, wow. I was unaware of that. Like, whew.
That's crazy.
It's nutty.
And Cut Chronicles just sold 500,000 physical sales in the past 6 months.
Which I just recently found out. And so now, damn.
That's a 20-year anniversary surprise.
Absolutely. I'm glad to celebrate it here with you, man.
That's crazy.
Thanks, Brad. Damn. Yeah, so I guess the Cut Chronicles just went gold after 20 years. Damn.
Do you like getting all those plaques?
Hell yeah. At first, it was a little weird. Like, when I first started getting them, I had like the first thing you see when you come in the crib, I'm like, that's a little corny. So now I keep them in the studio, you know what I'm saying? Like, so when you go to use the bathroom, you can be like, oh, word. okay. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah, I don't try to flex too hard, but
Yeah.
that's an accomplishment, man. Like every plaque that I have, it's like, all right, Dad, all those times you punished me here, motherfucker. It's like it wasn't for nil, you know.
Is there a favorite song, regardless of how it did, but just a song that means the most to you?
Oh, like that didn't like necessarily blow up or anything.
Yeah.
There's a lot. In fact, I was talking to Brad the other day. I'm sorry I keep mentioning Brad. He's off camera right now. He's my manager, but Kid Nothing, the last song, the Paper Cut Chronicles one. That song means the world to me because it's just basically like after the entire record, this is me saying, all right, cool. If I didn't let you into all that shit or you know, like expose all that shit about myself, or if I didn't, you know, like if I didn't make you excited by my rapping prowess or all these things I did, and I was just a normal dude and I came up to you and said hello, would you still give me the same treatment? You know what I mean? Like, and it's and that idea came from doing shows, and like, you know, people come up to me all the time like, oh, I love you. No, I'm like, no, you don't. You don't even know me. You know, you have no idea who I am. Like, but then I'm like, wait a minute, like, they do know me. Like I bled my heart out on the album. You know what I mean? So, and I feel like that's why the album connects with a lot of people. So then I had to like take a step back. Like, all right, bro, you're tripping. Like, but like there was also like this. I don't know. It's like this feeling like, all right, cool. I appreciate the love, but like, if I was just a normal, regular ass 6'6" biracial dude walking down the street and said hello, would you still give me the same love and attention? You know, we actually ended up doing a part 2 on the Paper Cut Chronicles 2, which is a continuation of that song, kind of talking on the same shit, but from the perspective of the experience that I've had between those 2 records. You know, like, and all right. Yeah, they wouldn't. They answered my question. Like, they wouldn't give me the same attention. Like, but it's cool, man. It's cool. But yeah, I fuck with Kid Nothing. There's also there's a song called "Coming Clean" on the Quilt that I love. It's one of the last songs, and it's basically me expressing to the girl that I was with at the time that I've been cheating on her, but I've been cheating on her with music. I'm like, you know, so it's like. It's called Coming Clean, and it's like me sitting her down saying, hey, like, this music shit is starting to get a little serious, you know, and I don't know if I can maintain 2 relationships because, like, I'm completely in love with this chick, you know what I mean? And I love you too, but I don't know, you know what I mean? And so it was hard playing that song for my girlfriend at the time, but she understood it. You know what I'm saying? And we haven't been together for. I mean, we didn't last too much longer after that, but yeah, that song "Coming Clean," that one still strikes a chord with me, man. For sure.
Your vulnerability and your honesty in your lyrics is why these albums still hold up all these years later.
Yeah, I think that's why I still make them. You know, like it's free therapy. My therapist is $250 fucking an hour, bro. Like, this shit is free for the most part.
Right.
For the most part.
How does Stereo Hearts with Adam Levine come in?
Oh,
how does that get made?
This is a funny story, actually. So now we're in the mix, you know, like we're in the mucky muck, and we're going, you know, we're in rooms with writers and producers, and I met Benny Blanco. Hit it off right away. Dick jokes all day. I'm like, oh, we're cut from the same cloth. You
Classic
know what I mean?
Benny.
Absolutely. Like, all he does is talk about dicks all day. Shout out to Benny. And so like our sessions, I miss those sessions so much because we do 6-7 hour session. 5 hours would be dick jokes and fucking us bullshitting, and then those last 2 hours we'd make 1 or 2 hits, like hits, legitimate hits. You know what I mean? Like, it was always about like getting comfortable, having fun, but music was always second in those sessions, and that's one thing I miss. You know, I don't say I miss, but it's actually one thing I learned and I bring into sessions that I do now. I'm like, let's get comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I've been into too many sessions where I'm just like trying to gauge everybody's temperature. I'm like, I'm here to work, man. But I've realized that, like, break the ice a little bit, break some bread if you have to, smoke something if you have to, and, you know, have a conversation. Like, and that's how those sessions went. And Ass Back Home was, I think that was one. I think we did Ass Back Home before we did Stereo Hearts, and that's when I was like, oh, like Benny got some shit. Benny got some shit, bro. And then he played me Stereo Hearts, and as soon as he played it, I went I already had the literally after I heard the reference. Shout out to Amir who wrote the top line for that.
My heart's a stereo.
Yeah. My man Amir wrote that. He's a beast, bro. I think he might have wrote the top line for Stereo or for Ass Back Home too. But I already saw I just saw a movie and like I was like, all right, I'm the stereo, I just saw the concept in my head. So I just started writing like, if I was just another dusty record on the show, would you blow me off and play me like? And it started coming out naturally. And then I went in the booth, I spit it for Benny. He was just like, what the fuck? And I was like, yes. Because I that was my thing. I was like, I would never, like, hey guys, what do you think about this? I would just write my shit, go in and spit it and just watch the reaction, So I did the first verse. He was just like, I was like, yeah. So cut all the verses. And we're just like, yo, this is out of here. He's like, yo, Trav, I think Adam really, really, really wants this song. I'm like, so? He's like, but, you just crushed this shit. I'm like, so what are you saying to me, bro? He's like, you think we should get him on the hook? I'm like, hell yeah, why not? But low key, I didn't know that he was like, Adam really, really wanted Stereo Hearts. But after I laid those verses, Benny was like, nah, bro. Like, so what they did was that I'm pretty sure that same night he made Moves Like Jagger and sent it to Adam. Just like, hey, bro, listen, here's this, but would you mind singing the hook on Stereo Hearts? You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I had never been in like a weird situation like that, but like the fact that Benny, like, he had the wherewithal to be like, yo, like, Travie killed these verses. I can't, just toss this. But let me not make Adam upset. But I believe Moves Like Jagger was written for a chick originally. I think it was written for Christina. I think that's why she's on it.
Aguilera?
I think originally the hook was, he's got them moves like Jagger. He's got them. And Adam took it and was like, I got the moves like Jagger. But Benny making that shit saved
Stereo Hearts.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It almost didn't happen. Well, I don't think Benny would have done that to me, man. Especially when I snapped on them verses like that,
Yeah.
I think he knew that, like. But I mean, Maroon 5 still plays that shit at every show like it's their shit anyways. So fuck it.
Were those times like the best, just coming out to LA, writing sessions with Benny Blanco?
For sure. I mean, well, Benny and I did most of that work in New York. Oh. Yeah, most of our sessions were in New York. That was at a time where Benny, I don't know, I'm not sure if he's still like this, but Benny doesn't fly. He didn't fly at the time.
He doesn't now.
Okay, so he'd always drive across country, or if he had to go overseas, he'd take a boat. Motherfucker would take a boat to the UK type shit. So yeah, most of our sessions were in New York, but we had a few out here. But I feel like the New York sessions were more fruitful for some reason. I think I felt more comfortable there.
Right.
Yeah, but now I come out, like, I feel comfortable out here working, but anything over 2 weeks, I start losing my shit, bro. I don't know.
Back to New York.
My feet don't fit the concrete out here, bro.
How come that album became Cut Chronicles 2? Was there like a tier in your head of what that meant to you?
I'll explain exactly why that album became what it was. And I low key feel like I let our fans down in a sense. I'm just gonna be open and honest with you. It's probably the first time I ever said this. But the Cut Chronicles 2 was actually supposed to be my second solo record. It was supposed to be called Icarus. And Lazarus then Icarus. And some of the guys in the band had kind of fucked up their financial situations for like the third or fourth time. I'm not gonna shit on nobody, but they fucked up their money, and so I literally had like this album about 80% in the fucking can. And I was so excited, and I was like, I can't, fuck, I can't let my boys, And plus the solo thing, and it was never meant to be like a ongoing thing. You know, I was like, let me just finish this and then we'll get back to work with gym class. But like,
because the soloist thing also brought eyes to gym class.
absolutely, and that's why, you know, one hand washes the other, both hands wash the face, and that's how I always looked at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so essentially, like, we came to an agreement. I was like, listen, I have this fucking album. Well, it wasn't a whole album completely, but it was there. You know, the concept, it was there. I was like, yo, like, let's throw ourselves into this and make it the Cut Chronicles 2, which was like, if my idea for the sequel for Cut Chronicles 2, I wanted to be just, not to say it wasn't as effective, or not to say that I hate Cut Chronicles 2. The album's amazing, you know? It's just that, like, it's not the Cut Chronicles 2 that I wanted it to be. And I feel like it's not the Cut Chronicles 2 a lot of our core fans wanted it to be. You know what I mean?
What did they want it to be? More rap?
I don't think they wanted it to be another one of these, like, I feel like, you know, like we were talking earlier, a lot of people connected because of how open and vulnerable I was. I think, not that I wasn't open and vulnerable on Cut Chronicles 2, but I just had a whole different trajectory for how PCT 2 was supposed to sound, which when I do part 3, it'll make a lot more sense then, you know.
It's crossing your mind, at least for a PCC.
Oh, it's been crossing my mind for 15, 16 years now, you know.
Right.
For real, for real.
Do you want to break and eat or anything? Are you good?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, cool.
What do you collect now?
Everything.
Like, you're huge in collectibles.
It's bad.
What's the stupidest amount of money you spent on something?
There's this artist named Ashley Wood. I believe he's Australian. I'm obsessed with him, and he has this toy company called 3A, and they're kind of like Barbie dolls for men. they're 12-inch figures, but they come with outfits. I'm talking about, down to the bone detail, like zippers, like shoes with shoestrings, like,
oh wow,
plaid pants with leather suspenders, and it's ridiculous. So you get a chance to look up 3A, and they go for about $400 or $500 a pop.
Jeez.
And I have a lot of them. My ex-wife used to call them my man Barbie dolls. Fuck it.
Was there a moment where you really felt like you achieved rock star status?
This is so crazy. I used to get asked that question all the time, and then there was like this lull where I hadn't been asked that question, and I just got asked that question maybe a week ago when I got inducted into the Rochester Music Hall of Fame. And I remember back in the day, like, whenever I was asked that question, I'd always give a different answer, because everything, I feel like it's a constant, you know, like, there's always things I'm like, oh fuck, I never thought this would happen. I never thought this would happen. So I always had different answers for that question, and I guess to answer it right now, the way I answered it last week was, for instance, there was one time Kanye did a show in Vegas, the old Kanye. He did a show in Vegas, and he literally stops the entire show, and he's like, yo, I was on my way over here in the car, and the song was playing on the radio, and I told my driver, I said, hey, roll the window down, turn that shit up. And he's like, yo, DJ, play that shit. And I hear, ba-da-da-da. I'm like, and there's a video of it. I was like, and Pete sent me the link, and I was like, this can't be real life. You know what I mean? So at that point, I was like, God damn, Kanye's playing Cupid's Chokehold in the middle of it, stopping the entire set to play Cupid's Chokehold, like, and dancing around and shit. Then, like, a few years ago, somebody sent me a video of LeBron dancing in his backyard to Cupid's Chokehold, and I'm like, all that shit's cool. But I said that to say this, like, I've been obsessed. Like, I'm still obsessed with, like, early 90s hip hop. And I've always, like, Boot Camp Click, like Smith & Wesson, Black Moon, Helter Skelter, all that Sean P, all that shit, like, that's, like, my heart, you know what I mean? And long story short, I ended up meeting those dudes, and I expressed to them, like how much that they meant to me growing up. And they sent me a huge box of merch, like Duck Down merch. I was just And then a couple weeks later, I got a text message from Drew, who runs Duck Down Records, and he's like, "Yo, we're doing Smith & Wesson's doing a show at Knitting Factory. You should come through." I'm like, "Sure." So I put my Duck Down hoodie on, I roll in, you know what I mean, like fanboy type shit, you know what I mean? And I come in, it's packed, and they're like, "Yo, my man Travie's in the building. Trav, come up." And I'm like, come up where? Like, so I go on stage, and we literally just freestyled for like a half an hour, like all of us. It was the most amazing shit ever. So like, it's shit like that, you know what I mean? Where this has allowed me to not only hang out with my heroes, but to interact and be creative with my heroes, you know what I mean? Like, so shit like that is the stuff that tickles my titties, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel like we hit everything. I'd love to, real quick, Never Slept Better.
Yeah.
That was a 1-album deal.
Yeah.
Is there talks of doing another solo? Is that on your mind? Do you want to do any more?
I mean, right now, Never Slept Better was probably the most therapeutic album I've ever made. You know what I mean? Like,
you could hear it in your lyrics.
Yeah, I was going through some shit, if you couldn't tell. But yeah, I feel like that album served its purpose, and I feel like right now gym class is the focus. You know what I mean? Like it's the main focus. But there's also there's times where I write songs where I'm like, it doesn't feel like gym class to me, you know? So those get put in another folder, and we'll see what happens, you know? But yeah, gym class is definitely on the front burner right now.
New album later this year.
Absolutely.
Stoked for it. Thank you so much for making the time. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me, Joe. I appreciate you, brother.
This has been an honor, truly.
Word up.
Cool. Thanks so much for listening, and leave a comment down below. Thumbs up. Hit subscribe.
Love your life and your mom. You only get one.
Lightweights out. That was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.